Acushnet Planning Commission. Is there a motion to open the meeting?
Motion open.
From Rick,
Second it.
motion to open.
Rick, yeah.
Second by Phil, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, all of us, unanimous. Please introduce yourself. My name is Mark Centerizio. I'm on the Planning Commission.
Rick Ellis, member of the Planning Commission.
Brian Deschamps, member.
Bill Mello, member.
Thank you. With that, I'll start with this letter dated December 28th, 2020. Mr. Centerizio, 122 Main Street. Mr. Centerizio, I'm writing to let you know that I will be leaving my position as Planner Special Projects Manager next month. My last day at the town of Acushnet will be January 11th, 2021. Although I have enjoyed my tenure with the town of Acushnet, it is time for me to follow other pursuits and spend more time with my family. It has been a privilege working with you, Donna, residents, and members of the Acushnet Planning Board over the years. I wish you and the board continued success in serving the citizens of Acushnet. Sincerely, Henry Young. So Henry is out from that.
It's horrible.
What can we do?
I know.
6:45, public hearing continue. Are you guys out there?
We are.
Zenith Land Surveyors?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. With that, introduce yourself to, well, before you get started, I have one thing I have to read for you guys. I put it here. I hope I can find it again.
Yeah.
This is on 148 Peckham Road, is that correct?
Correct.
This is from the fire chief. As you know, when asked to comment on all subdivision plans submitted to the fire department, my focus is exclusively on 3 areas: road width, emergency vehicle turnaround capacities, and water access for fire hydrants. I reviewed the subdivision plan submitted for 148 Peckham Road and are offering the following observations and requests. First, the plan indicates the width of the proposed roadway to be 20 feet. The state fire code and NFPA 1-18-234-1.1 states that the fire department access roads shall have an unobstructed width of not less than 20 feet, according to the proposed plan in compliance with the fire code. Please note that NFPA 1-18.2, 3, 4, and 2 further states fire department access roadhead shall be designed and maintained to support the imposed loads of the fire apparatus and shall provide with all-weather driving surface. At this portion of the code involving engineering designing specifically best suited to the planning board, I leave approval of road construction to the membership. Second, the plan indicates an emergency vehicle turnaround, commonly referred to as a hammerhead, located near the end of the proposed road. State Fire Code NFPA 1 states that dead-end fire department access roadways in excess of 150 feet in length shall be provided with approved provision for fire apparatus turnaround. I find the emergency vehicle turnaround as indicated on the proposed plan to be in compliance with the fire code and consistent with similar subdivisions approved by the board. Finally, the plan indicates one fire hydrant located approximately 165 feet from the center line of Peckham Road. The state fire code NFPA 1.18.5.2 states that fire hydrants shall provide for detached 1 and 2 family dwellings in accordance with both of the following. 1, maximum distance to fire hydrant from the closest point on the building shall not exceed 600 feet. The maximum distance between fire hydrants shall not exceed 800 feet. Whereas the proposed plan does not meet this code required, I am requesting that the second hydrant be located no more than 500 feet from the current sole fire hydrant indicated on the plan. This would provide adequate fire protection for the residents planned for lots C and D, as well as acting as a starting point for future hydrants, given the possibility of future subdivision expansion from Fire Chief Kevin Gallagher. I just wanted, that came in today, I just wanted everybody to know that.
Mr. Chairman,
With that, I'll turn it over to you boys from Zenith.
I just want to observe the time mark. It's 6:39. I don't know if we're going to get any issues where it's open meeting at 6:45 or a little early.
Okay. Well, we can leave that into the minutes if that's okay with you guys. If you want me to wait till 6:45, I have a couple things I can do. I have some mailings from the town of Mattapoisett Planning Board, legal notice and public hearing. They're having a public hearing February 1st, 7 p.m. Zoom, regarding Randall Lane Solar for construction, large mounted. I think that's on the line, I'm not sure. Town of Rochester, 0 Pine Street, that's not on the line. And Zoning Board of Rochester, 111 Country Road. Request for conversion of multifamily, that has nothing to do with us. Town of Rochester, Zoning Board of Appeals. 2 variants, both setback requirements, chapter 2040, we're all set with that. With that, we also have some bills from South Coast Media Group. I will take care of those with our Secretary General. With that, are we close? 6:42.
Mark? I
Yes,
just
sir.
have a couple of questions.
Go right ahead.
So at this point, we have no administrative support at all, if I'm correct. You know,
You're looking at it.
Don is no longer with us, and Henry is just handing in his resignation. I just want to make the members who are asking us to approve or disapprove things that this may slow things down a bit. With no administrative assistance at all.
I have Jen Braley, who's gonna take the minutes. She does a great job, and we're gonna try and break her in with the help of Donna and Pam Labonte. So please bear with us.
That's part of it. Now, who's going to keep track of all these timelines on the subdivisions and the special permits and the site plan reviews and all that junk? I guess what I'm getting at is, do we have, how do we go about getting some more administrative assistance? Do we have to request something from the selectmen?
Yes, I've already talked to Julie, who is the town administrator, and she's gonna put a thing together. We might try to get a new student just graduating from out of college, because I don't know what they're gonna pay a person that does it on a part-time basis.
That's going to put the onus on us to keep track of all these timelines.
We will try and do the best that we can. We will try and get somebody in interim. I understand where you're coming from, Rick, and
It's a
all
good
the people-
question.
I just want to make members of the audience aware of that. I mean, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Mark, but
that's okay.
I just want to let people know that the slow wheels of town government may move even a little more slowly at this point.
Someone had a question?
The question Rick asked was awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And I just want everybody to know out there, we are not a paid board. All these guys that are doing it volunteer their time. So with that, we got 1 more minute.
Good question, Rick. Thank you very much for asking that.
Yeah, really, Rick.
I know this may be a little bit ahead of the time, Mark, but do you know if we got anything from the commercial development, New England Farms, and on Main Street in the center?
I did not, went and checked all the mailings and everything at the town clerk's office, and we did, at the planning board, did not get anything from them yet.
Okay, do you know if there's anybody here tonight that's
Representing them?
representing them?
I do not know at the moment.
Okay.
I
No,
know,
we are here.
oh, okay, I see Mickey on. I know they did give some stuff to the zoning board of appeals, and they have to digest it.
Okay, that's fine. I just was curious. Nobody showed last time, so.
Yep, we'll talk to them about it. I don't know, it might have been a mess up with me or a mess up with Henry, but we'll go from there.
Okay.
6:45, you okay, Zenith?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I had read something into it before from the fire department. You understand, basically, he said the roadway's up to the planning board. The turnaround is okay, and he would like another fire hydrant 500 feet down past the one fire hydrant is there. Is that correct?
That's how I understood it as well, sir.
Okay. What would you gentlemen like to do?
Well, unless if the board members would like for us to represent, I think the only change to the plan based off of the chief's comments is we'll add another hydrant and further down the roadway, the right of way, to meet his requirement. But if the board has any questions on the plan, we're happy to try to answer them. If not, we would hope for a positive vote of endorsement tonight from you.
Gentlemen on the board?
I would like to see the note on the plan that limits the development off of this proposed subdivision road to 3 dwellings, period. And note should also include something to the effect that that the town will not be required to do any maintenance on the road or snow plowing. I'm not quite sure how you would word it, but basically it should be the responsibility. Oh, sorry.
That's not me, sir.
Any other comments, questions?
Madam Chair, I have one comment to the caller again with the 508 area code, last 45906.
Who's that talking in the background?
Oh, no, we have no
I
idea.
can't hear it. Eric from cable, we have someone in the background. Can we mute him or?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Thank you, sir.
Go on.
Okay.
All right.
That's one note, but I would like something to specifically say that this road is to service no more than, I believe it was 3 single-family dwellings.
Okay.
And that the maintenance would be taken care of by a homeowners association, and the town would not be requested to accept this road unless it was brought up to full subdivision standards.
Sure. So 3 dwellings.
I thought it was 3.
No, and you're 100% right, sir. And town's not responsible.
Yes, and the maintenance would be taken care of by a homeowners association.
Not a problem.
I just wanted, there are sometimes realtors involved, and I want it to be clear to anybody that buys one of these lots what they're buying into.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, no, we understand. We'd be happy to add those 2 notes to the plan along with the updated hydrant location per the chief's comments.
Mhm.
So we have no problem with that at all, sir.
Okay.
Now, in the event that we sign this, and we have a 21-day appeal period if they appeal it. This is a private road, I am correct?
Yes, sir.
So the town would not have to maintain this,
100% correct.
and it's 20 foot wide.
That's correct.
And what type of roadway is it?
It's a private road that has a paved apron in the beginning, and then it's gravel.
Gentlemen, anything else? I mean, we've been through it, I know.
Is there anybody from the audience that has got any comments, Mark? Do you know?
Thank you, Rick.
Is there anybody that's got any comments from the audience?
With that, we do have all the, everything we need with all the variances, all the, what's the word?
They had
All the waivers.
the waiver requested on the plan.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if there's no comment, if no further comments from the townspeople, I would say I would make a motion that we approve the plan, subject to the additional hydrant being added as requested by the fire chief, and the additional notes being put on the plan to define the fact that this road is limited to three dwellings, period. And that
And I
the
second
town
that.
will not be responsibility, it will not have the responsibility for maintenance. That will be taken care of by a homeowners association. And furthermore, that the people from these lots will not be able to request acceptance by the town until the road is brought up to full subdivision standards. That's my motion.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second that.
And is there a vote? Rick,
Aye.
Phil,
Right?
Brian, Mark, aye. In the event this is a 21-day appeal period, I don't know if we will have any challenges, but I will let you know that is it 20 or 21-day appeal
I think
period?
it's 21 days.
It's 20-day appeal, 21st day, the board can sign off.
Okay.
Okay, let me just look, what do I have on
I
my,
believe, Mark, it's been a while since I've done one of these subdivisions. I believe we have to send a certificate of action to the town clerk to let her know that we did approve it.
yes, you're absolutely correct, Rick, thank you very much. And I have a special, let me see, I was with the town clerk today. I have a special minutes just for her, and we have to send a certificate of action, is that correct?
That's, I believe we do, yeah.
With that, I do not have the certificate of action here, I'm gonna have to find it.
Okay.
Where they are in the thing, I will go in tomorrow and get it and give it to the town clerk. She has to hold that for a 20-day period, that is correct?
Yep.
Okay, with that. Is it, we have to wait one more minute, 6:55.
All right, thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. Appreciate all your hard work, guys.
Nope, if you would, just give me a call on that sheet for the certificate of action tomorrow, either John or Jamie,
Yes, sir.
okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mark, if I could, once you're ready, I just have one quick thing I'd like to,
No, go right ahead. We got another minute.
okay. You know, there's a fair amount of history to the retreat lot thing and how we got to that and why we have that in the bylaw. I just would like to take some time and put together a little letter to basically to the building inspector, to the Board of Health, and to the Board of Selectmen, you know, for you guys to take a look at too, but just to explain how we got to that point. I think it's just viewed as, you know, a way to get around the subdivision, but it's actually much more, there's a little bit more to it than just that. There are some distinct advantages to the town for retreat lots as opposed to subdivisions. And I just wanted, because I've been on the board so long here, I'd like that history of how we got to the retreat lot thing just to be on the table so everybody's aware of what the reasoning was. They don't have to agree with it, but you know, I just want to get that out there, and I'll take some time between now and the next meeting to put together a letter, if you will, for the board to review.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
6:56. This is public hearing continuation, proposed commercial development, 158, 166 Main Street, 17 Wing Road, New England Retail Development, LLC, applicant, represented by Patrick McLaughlin, GPI. Site plan review and approval required. This proposal is for a 4,200 square foot gas station and convenience store with a drive-in service within the business village district. Now, I understand that there is a set of plans out there to the Board of Appeals, but we have not got a set of plans yet. Is there anybody from New England Retail Development out there?
There is, Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is Mickey Higgins. I'm the owner of Delta Realty, who owns the properties at the corner of Wing Road and Main Street. And I'm also one of the owners of New England Retail, which is affiliated with the New England Farms convenience stores. Can everybody hear me all right?
I can hear you okay.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
So just procedurally, a little bit of a mix-up because we had a meeting with Henry, and at that meeting, I thought it was decided that we would pursue the special permit from the Board of Appeals before we came back to the planning board. It wasn't until yesterday that your town administrator, Julie, communicated with us that we were actually on the agenda this evening, which is fine, except we did submit revised plans to the Board of Appeals, thinking that we were going there first. So I do have Heather Montecup from GPI here this evening. We are prepared to present if that's the chair's wish or the board's wish, but a bit of a mix-up procedurally and a little bit of a lack of a communication, and maybe something got lost with Henry's leaving.
Well, I apologize for that. You can rest it on my shoulders. I'm sorry for it. We just don't have a set of plans in front of us right now. And those plans, you do have a new set of plans, is that correct?
We do have a revised set of site plans, yes, we do.
Okay, so in essence, the original plans will be denied and the new plans will be put into effect, is that correct?
I don't think the previous plan would be denied. I think this would be a modification. The plan is very similar to the previous plan in some ways, and I could go through this plan and highlight the changes that we've made if that's the board's wish. Or we could submit plans to the board and come back when you've had time to review them. That's your decision.
I guess for me, Mark, I'm still, normally the way these site plan reviews by the planning board work in other towns is the planning board reviews it under the site plan review portion of the bylaw, and they make a recommendation to the zoning board of appeals, because ultimately it's the zoning board of appeals who has the authority to approve or disapprove the plan. I'm a little unclear at this point, especially without a planner here, as to what the proper procedure is. I don't see, if the zoning board approves it, well, then I don't see what our
What is our role?
purpose is in the whole process. It's approved, we're done. We don't have to do anything. I would think that the board has to review the current plans and comment on those to the ZBA. I would think that that would be the correct way to go through it. I don't see how an approval by the ZBA leaves us with the opportunity to have any input.
Okay.
I'm happy to present. It's really what the board's wish is. It was certainly communicated to us to go to the Board of Appeals first and get a special permit, because the special permit that we're seeking is to build a convenience store that's larger than 3,000 square feet. So the way that Henry posed it to us was, how can you go to the, we could, but how could you go to the planning board and get a site plan review for a building that's larger than 3,000 square feet if the Board of Appeals doesn't give permission to grant that grant that special permit?
I'm a little, like I said, I'm at a loss without Henry here to question him on the thing. To me, that's backwards. It doesn't make sense. All the other towns that I've ever worked with, the planning boards basically report to the ZBA what their findings are on the site plan, and then the ZBA takes action from there, either to accept the board's comments or ignore them, as is their prerogative. So I'd love to see a presentation, but we would have to send and we're also in the zoning bylaw, there's a request for the selectmen to comment on the site plan review. So again, we need a set of plans that we can refer to the selectmen and ask them for their comment. So I don't see how it works having the ZBA act on it in a final fashion. You can present things to them, but in terms of a final action from the ZBA, that would seem premature without comment from the planning board on site plan review and a letter or lack of same from the selectmen, which is required under the bylaw.
So do we want this gentleman to get us a set of plans that we look at first and give our?
Hey, guys.
I would say definitely. I mean, let's get a set of plans and that we can look at and get our presentation. And we'll have to go through there's 10 or so items under site plan review that the planning board is supposed to comment on.
Yeah.
With that, okay, is there any special things that we're asking? Like, I know you had asked about a traffic study before, Rick, or a pedestrian traffic study. Is that all part of the site plan review?
Again, it's a little.
I saw something that Baker's gonna lift something.
Who's speaking, please?
Mr. Chairman, I think there's a guy named Mark DeShays who doesn't know he's not muted.
Oh, I think he's muted now. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the help, guys. Thank you very much. With that, then.
So, Mr. Chair, if I would just say, we as the applicant are trying to follow the guidelines or the direction that we've received from the town, but we've been at this for several months, and we have not made a lot of progress. So if you could if the board could tell us what their wish is clearly, then we will follow the board's wish. But we are, if it was the board's wish, we are prepared to present at least a rendering and hear comments. But if you would prefer that we submit revised plans, and I certainly understand that, and then you have time to review them, it's not a problem. But we were following the direction of the planner that we were given, and it's been a bit of a bouncing ball. And we did go to the selectmen, and the selectmen said the same thing. The selectmen said, well, we really would like you to go to the planning board first. We just went to the selectmen, and they wanted us to go to the planning board. That was their direction. In fact, they continued their meeting to give the planning board time to help hold 2 meetings in case it didn't get done in 1 meeting. So we will be going back to the Board of Appeals at some point for a special permit to build a building larger than 3,000 square feet. And we will certainly be going to the selectmen because we need a storage license to store gasoline. So there's 3 boards involved, and we're sort of bouncing between the 3.
I understand your frustration. I do. I was wondering why you didn't decide to make an appearance last month. I mean, that lost you a whole month, actually, on your end, not on ours. I'm a little disappointed on my end to just see no communication with your continuation of the hearing for last month. It's hard for me to consider time being a factor when on your own end you lost a whole month. That's just being said. I would make a motion to the rest of the board that we accept this revised plan as a new filing, because we are very close to running out of time to act on the submission. And submit the plans to the board. We'll take a look at them, and you can go over them, next meeting. Did you do any kind of a traffic study?
We did.
Okay.
We did.
It would be nice to see that ahead of time, to put a traffic study in front of us and a new plan and expect action on it that night. I think that's asking a bit much.
No, that's not my intent. Again, I just want to state we didn't mean to pull a no-show at the last planning board hearing. We had communicated with the planner, and we thought we were to go through the Board of Appeals process and then come back to the planning board. So I didn't, and I never got notice that we were on your last month's agenda. And I didn't get notice today for this meeting until yesterday, when Julie, your town administrator, who I think is trying to pick up some of the slack with the planner being out, she sent me an email notifying. And then of course I went online, but we didn't get a notice. We didn't think we were on, and we didn't know to look to see if we were on, because we thought we were going to the Board of Appeals process.
I understand, but when you were at, I'll call it the first meeting, we continued to a next date while you were there. No one showed for that next meeting. So because no one showed for that next meeting, well, nobody was there to tell you that we continued it again just to see what was going on. Henry really had no direction for us at that point. It's all right. I mean, we'll sort it out, but I would say we need to reset this to 0 time and consider this revised plan with traffic study a new application.
I think that's fine.
That's my comment. I don't know how the rest of the board feels. I don't know how the rest of the board feels. That's just me personally.
Well, I'm with you. I don't know if we set it to 0. That gives us what, 90 days? Is that correct?
Yep.
Well, if it's a new plan and we just get rid of the old plans, it's a new, what's the word I'm looking for? New.
I mean, I would make the motion that we deny site plan review on the previous plan and expect to process a second revised plan with a traffic study at our next meeting.
If I can make a suggestion, rather than you deny the plan, we'll just withdraw the plan. We'll withdraw the application and resubmit.
That would be fine. It's just a time thing, that's all.
I know there's,
This-
as far as I know, the time doesn't apply right now because of the governor's state of emergency in Massachusetts. But I agree with you. I think it's cleaner. We'll withdraw. We'll make a revised submission with the revised site plans, include the traffic, and we'll start over.
Okay, that sounds good. I don't know, that I would say we need a vote from the rest of the board on
Is
that.
there a motion? You make that motion, Rick?
I would make the motion that we accept withdrawing of the current plan or the plan submitted, previous plan submitted to the planning board, and reset the clock for a new submission with a revised plan with traffic study.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Who second? Brian, you second that? All in favor? Brian?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
Mark? Aye. Unanimous with that, and we shall set a date today. Do we want to make that before the zoning board of appeals that has a meeting on the 23rd? Is that correct, Mickey?
That is correct.
And today is the 21st. Do we want to do it before? Well, if we do it before, we still have to get,
I would like the opportunity to see a revised plan and traffic study before our meeting, rather than try to act on something that night.
okay.
A traffic study is not typically something I can look at in 5 minutes and give you a comment, a reasonable, rational comment on anyway.
I had a few things on it. They want to, looking for a pedestrian traffic study, stormwater, all that stuff included in that, Mickey?
The stormwater, all of that was submitted the first go round, so we would resubmit that.
Okay. And as far as a pedestrian traffic study, has that, anything like that been done?
I'm gonna let Heather, my traffic engineer, answer.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is Heather Monacup with GPI, and we are the traffic engineers, and we did prepare a letter. When you say pedestrian study, are you talking about the Wing Road crosswalk that we had discussed?
I believe so, ma'am,
Okay.
yes.
Yep, I know that we've committed to that, and that was going to be presented tonight to talk about that, but now it will be at our next hearing.
Okay, we want to make it clean. I'll make sure that I call you folks and let you know the date. I'm letting you know now. It's, do we want this before the zoning board of appeals meeting? Gentlemen?
Sure. I mean, we'll do what we can to, get some reasonable comments out to the ZBA in time, but without a planner or an administrative assistant, that might be a little tough, but
Well, we can try our best. Is February 18th good with everybody?
sure.
Sounds good to me.
Brian?
Yep.
Mickey?
That's fine with us. Thank you for
Okay,
accommodating.
we'll put that on for 6:45 PM. You got that one, Mick? 6:45 PM?
Yes, sir. That's good with us.
Okay. With that,
Excuse me, Chairman,
Go ahead.
can I ask a question? My name is Joshua DeRoche. I'm on 168 Main Street in Acushnet, which is the abutting property to the planned development.
yes,
My
sir.
question is how this affects the zoning board. The next meeting, they were planning to vote on a special permit for the size of the building. So will they still be voting on the special permit?
Yes, sir. I believe that's why we want to get our meeting on the 18th before the zoning board of appeals does theirs.
So
we can submit-
that's quite a concern. So we're gonna have a meeting on the 18th, and we're gonna take all of this information and relay it to the zoning board in a matter of days, and they're gonna make an informed decision.
The zoning board of appeals already has the material that I believe New England is going to give us. Is that correct?
The Board of Appeals has everything.
All I've seen submitted was a traffic report. There's no pedestrian, there's no stormwater, et cetera.
I have not seen it yet, so I cannot give you an answer.
Well, this is my concern. This is another meeting that we're skipping that we can be discussing on how to, discuss what we're doing here. Delaying this another month and having input from this board to the zoning board in a couple of days, that doesn't seem realistic to me.
We will have those, they will get us the plans, I presume, in the next week or so. Is that correct, Mickey?
That is correct. We'll file, I'll check the filing deadline tomorrow, but we'll probably file Monday or Tuesday.
So what's the process with the planning board sitting down with the zoning board? Do you have a meeting prior to the ZBA meeting where they make a decision on the special permit?
I'm trying to have a meeting before, the planning board has a meeting before the zoning board of appeals.
Yes, on the 18th, and the zoning board's the 23rd. That's a lot of information to review in such a short period. Now, I brought my concerns up the last time when the applicant did not show. And my question was, what happens when we get to the next meeting and then if no plans are submitted? And here we are at the next meeting, there's no plan submitted, and now exactly what my concerns were is where we are now. We're gonna rush into decisions, and this is a huge project for both the city, for the town of Acushnet as well as the abutters. I would think that we could delay the ZBA voting on the special permit to give them enough time to, look through all the information. There's got to be a lot of information that's provided. I mean, we're going to sit down in 1 month and we're going to review this new plans coming in, and then we're going to expect to have, a good understanding or good recommendations to the zoning board in just a few days. That doesn't sound very professional. It doesn't seem like there's enough time to do an adequate job. This is an enormous project. I don't think it's something that we can just be like, oh, okay, yep, here's our input. Here's a couple days to review it.
You understand that we're having new plans come in, sir?
I have the plans right in front of me.
Okay.
I have right in front of me. I've done whatever I need to do. I've been to every meeting. And the applicant, I'm not sure what's going on. They don't show up. They submit plans to the ZBA, but they don't submit plans to the planning board. It's very unprofessional. If they're so concerned about developing this site in a timely manner, they would have already submitted plans.
Did you hear us at the beginning of the meeting, sir?
I absolutely did.
Okay.
And I've been here every meeting.
I understand. Now, you
there's been
understand?
issues.
Do you understand that we lost our planner and our secretary?
I do, but
Okay.
that's
So
not
you
my
got a
concerns.
Okay,
My
so
concern
that's
is
not your concern. It's my concern.
Right.
No disrespect. Give us a little breathing room. We're trying to make this thing work, okay? If you have a problem, go see the selectmen. Tell them that you don't like me.
No, that's, I don't mean any disrespect.
Well, you just,
Honestly,
basically, I'm sorry, I gotta stop you, man. You just called the board unprofessional. That bothers me. If we have so much information that we don't feel that we can give a reasonable opinion to the ZBA in a few days, then we won't do it. It's as simple as that. But we first got to see the proposal and see the information they're going to put in front of us.
But doesn't the information go to peer review?
We decide what the review process is going to be for the planning board site plan review, period. That's what we'll do. If we think we need additional peer review, then we will direct it to be done at that time. But we don't have the proposal in front of us. We don't have all the information in front of us. We will get it in front of us and we will decide what to do at the next meeting. If we can get something together for the ZBA at that time, we will. If we can't, then we won't do it.
So if you decide to go ahead with...
We're talking about the future. We've got to get those plans in. We've got to get the presentation in. We've got to get the stormwater management thing resubmitted. We've got to get the traffic study in. Once we get that, then we can decide what we're going to do. We can't decide that tonight.
fair enough. My apologies. I didn't mean any disrespect to the board.
No problem. Mickey, let me ask you this. Can you get those plans to us by February 4th?
Yes.
Okay. Then at that time, I can distribute everything on the 5th to everybody. That gives everybody a week and 1 week and 3 days. So we can try to bring everything to all the heads. We can give it to the selectmen. The selectmen have it already, Mickey?
The selectmen have a single, yes, they have a site plan. They don't have drainage calcs, and they just have a site plan that shows the tank location.
Mickey,
Yeah.
I would make the suggestion that you make sure the ZBA and the Board of Selectmen and the Planning Board have everything submitted that you plan to do. That will make it a little cleaner. Okay, they may not comment on any of the other stuff, but let's at least get the three parties all that information, please. That's
So if I'm correct here, the zoning board of appeals already has a set of plans, correct?
That is correct.
Do they have the traffic study? Do they have the storm drainage information?
They've had the storm drainage since last July.
Okay, and that's not going to change with this new proposal. I'm just concerned, Mickey. I understand you're wanting things to act in a timely fashion, but you've got to get the same information to the Board of Selectmen, to the ZBA, and to the Planning Board. Then we can act on it coherently.
I do appreciate your comments.
So we could get everything by the 4th. We hand it out by the 5th. I'm just talking the planning board. If I'll hand them out to the selectmen, the zoning board of appeals have. If you want to make them up, I'll hand them out on the 5th of February. That gives everybody 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days to review the plans.
Does that include planning board members getting this in advance too?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's the 4 gentlemen right here on the planning board. I believe the 3 selectmen, and I believe if you get an extra copy, town administrator, plus you already gave it to, I believe it's 5 on the Board of Appeals. Is that correct?
I didn't do the submission myself. Someone in my office did, so I don't know the exact number they submitted.
If it wasn't,
No
then
problem.
please get it to them.
It was a trunk load of data, so.
Okay. So with that, we will continue this meeting at 6:45 PM on February 18th, 2021. Everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
I do, and that means the 90-day clock gets reset to the submission of the next plans and studies.
And Mickey, you'll call, or I'll call you on the 4th? Does Julie have your number, Mickey?
Julie does, yes. My email address.
I will get the number from her. So we got the motion, everybody voted on it, we're all set, we know what we're gonna do, we're gonna have everything by the 4th, going to the selectmen and the planning board, CBA has it. With that, is there a motion for the continuation of this till February 18th?
Make the motion, we continue this hearing till February 18th at what, 6:45 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's my motion.
Rick made the motion, Brian,
Second the motion?
Phil,
That's a first and a second. Let's get a vote.
all in favor, Phil? Brian,
Aye.
Rick,
Aye.
Mark, aye. Phil, you there?
Oh, the last Phil.
Okey doke, 3 out of 4. With that, moving right along. Thank you very much, folks, for your input. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for
Thank you
bearing
for
with
your
us. With it 7:15. Public hearing, proposed ground-mounted solar array, Gammons Road and Mattapoisett Road, known as Acushnet Assessors Map 9. Lot 32, map 10, lots 1, 2, 3, and 1A, 3A for BWC Mill Pond LLC, represented by Rick P.E. Field Engineering, Mattapoisett, Mass. The applicant is seeking a special permit. Richard, are you out there?
Yes, sir. Rich Riccio here on behalf of BWC Mill Pond. This is the large solar array we discussed last meeting along the Acushnet Mattapoisett town line. I believe we, answered the board's questions last meeting. Has an update. We do have an order of conditions from the Conservation Commission now on the project, and the last thing was regarding the getting SW Cole to look at the peer review, look at the decommissioning report. Unfortunately, I know I had been trying to get in touch with Henry, and I finally had heard from him yesterday that he was no longer with the town, and he had me reach out directly with SW Cole. I did speak with Derek Mello there yesterday, and he was going to look into his files. I hadn't heard back from him today, but I think everything else was all set, and other than the number for the decommissioning, which we would request that the board act on this, and we could work with Cole to finalize that number for the decommissioning amount.
With that, let me see what I have for notes here. You show all the modifications requested by the various stakeholders. Third-party decommissioning
Yeah, we had talked about
estimate.
the fire department. I did submit an email that we had received from Chief Gallagher with regards to his comments that we met the requirements for access and the Knox boxes, and as we do in all of our projects, we'd set up a meeting with them prior to operation to go over shutdown procedures and basic, emergency response to the site.
Just give me 1 second. Bear with me, please. With that, gentlemen, I think everything's all except for, we will have to find out what the decommissioning fee is. Is that correct, Rick?
Yeah, I believe so.
Rick?
I mean, if there's anybody else in the audience that has any comments, we should probably get that. But, I mean, I'm ready to vote on it myself, subject to SW Cole accepting the decommissioning amount.
Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak on this? With that, gentlemen, is that a motion, Rick?
I would make a motion that we approve this project as submitted, subject to getting a decommissioning dollar amount from SW Cole.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Brian seconds it. All in favor? Rick?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Mark? Aye. Phil?
Mr. Cinerizio, I muted Rick. I muted Phil, and I can't get him unmuted.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much, Eric. With that, Richard, we'll have to, I have some new papers for the Finance Committee to do some of this, what's the word, the decommissioning paperwork and the price and everything. If you can get a hold of me, or you can text me your telephone number, or I'll give you a call tomorrow. Will you be at your office?
Our office number is on all of our documentation.
Okay.
you could give me a call. And one thing I was going to just mention to the board, we worked with Henry on the decisions on the last couple that we had permitted in town. If you guys need any assistance with the actual decision, I do have the old Word documents that I can get to you guys and in moving forward on this one.
I sure would appreciate
That
it.
would be appreciated, yes.
Thank you kindly. And if I don't call you
Not a
tomorrow,
problem.
get a hold of me, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. It being, oh,
Mr.
right
Chair.
on time, 7:30.
This is John
Yes.
Darcy from Blue Wave Solar, working with Rich Riccio on the project. Thank you for your time. Just wanted to clarify one additional question on the decommissioning front. We wanted to clarify if the town, what form of decommissioning, surety or financial mechanism would the town require? Would a bond work for the town, or would that need to be another mechanism?
Whatever we did last time. At this point,
I think it is a bond, but
ask our new town planner, Rich Riccio.
All right. Oh, good thing I know Rich well, so I'll catch up with him on that.
No,
But
I was at the financial with Catherine today, and they have a new form they have to fill out that we want you to fill out. So I'll get a hold of you two guys and get the form to you, and you can go from there.
That sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent.
Thank you.
40 people on here.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yep. Have a good night.
With that, it being 7:30 p.m., public hearing for a ground-mounted solar array located at 52 Morris's Lane, known as Acushnet, Assessors Map 17, Lot 24, 24B, and 24C, for Berigio Solar Systems Incorporated, represented by Brandon Smith, P. of Berigio Solar Systems, Lowell, Mass. The applicant is seeking a special permit. Is there anybody from Berigio Solar Systems out there?
Yes, Brandon Smith.
How are you, Brandon? I hope I didn't mess your name up.
Nope. Perfect. Yeah, good evening. I'm the civil engineer with Borrego Solar. I'll be presenting the 52 Morris's Lane project to the board tonight.
Let me see, was I supposed to read anything else here? Nope, I had it in the paper, but it's the same verbiage that I read. With that, you're going to make a presentation, sir?
Yes, sir. If whenever you're ready, I can go ahead.
Well, with that, we have to open, am I right, Rick? We have to open this as a public hearing?
I'm not good on the procedural stuff. We're kind of dependent on Henry for that. So I'll make a motion that we open the public hearing for the 5 megawatt solar array located at 52 Morris's Lane.
I second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Rick. I go aye. 3 of us are there. Please go right ahead, sir.
Thank you. Would it be possible for me to share my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right. And I know the board probably has heard some of this, but just in case anyone who's on the line, abutters or anything like that, I'll kind of go through the project here. So up on my screen is an aerial view, kind of a Google Earth view of Acushnet. You can see this red outline here is the location of the project. It's just due east of Route 140 off of Morris's Lane on a parcel owned by Chris and Janella Ciano. The parcel, as you can see here, this red outline, it represents the proposed fenced area of the solar array. So this will be, as you mentioned, a 5 megawatt AC solar energy storage and storage facility. I'll switch over to an aerial view here. showing the proposed system. This, just to orient yourself, down at the southeast is Morse's Lane. This is an existing driveway coming off Morse's Lane at 52 Morse's Lane. That driveway is what we are proposing to use for access to the site. This system, or just to orient you again with this, what we're looking at here, the magenta line is the property line. The red line with the rectangles on it represents the fenced area of the system. And then, as you might suspect, the blue is the solar panels. And these light blue rectangles represent the energy storage units. This dark blue line running from this southeast equipment pad down to Morse's Lane, running along this, the access road here, is the interconnection. So this is an underground MV trench that comes up with, there are 7 proposed poles along the driveway to Morse's Lane, along the driveway at 52 Morse's Lane. This project encompasses about 30 acres. You'll see we have had wetlands delineated on the site. This light blue shading are wetlands. The project has gone through the Conservation Commission. We received approval from the commission at their last meeting. So you'll see, because of the wetlands that were delineated, the system's kind of split into 2 arrays. The combined total is that 5 megawatts that we talked about. This is a more traditional solar array using fixed tilt racking, so it's not a tracker, which I think you saw in the previous project that presented. So these are fixed solar arrays on galvanized steel racking with augured screw foundation. So there's no proposed grading or shaping of the array required. So as much as possible, we minimize the earth disturbance. As you can see, this site is wooded, so there will be, as I mentioned, about 30 acres of tree clearing on the site. We will remove the stumps within the fenced area. Outside of the fenced area, we leave the stumps to try and eliminate disturbance as much as possible. The access, you'll see here, we have met with, Henry set up a meeting with the various department heads. So we've met with Chief Gallagher, received his comments. So we have access to the site. Surrounding the entire site, there's a perimeter access road around each array, as well as heading to each electrical equipment area. We have received also, we've sent the plans to the DPW, received approval from them for the access onto Morse's Lane. And just lastly, as I mentioned, interconnection here, this, just to clarify for the access, up until this point of the parcel line, this is actually an existing road here, or an existing driveway that we'll be utilizing. So no road will be constructed, or no additional driveway or anything like that. We're using this existing, just from this corner, kind of west and north, is what we are proposing for additional driveway construction. Lastly, we have performed a stormwater analysis on the site to ensure that the peak discharge coming off the site matches the pre-existing conditions. So there are a couple road rails on the array that we're proposing to capture that stormwater and transport it to a stormwater detention basin in the southeastern corner of the site, about here, if you can see my cursor, where we have a custom outlet control structure to discharge that water as close as possible to the pre-existing kind of discharge rates. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have, or any anyone else on the call.
I just would like to read into it. I got a letter from Conservation. You had already went to a conservation meeting, is that correct?
Yep, we actually attended a couple and we received approval at their last meeting.
This is marked January 8th, 2021 from the Conservation Commission. Dear members of the planning board, as a stormwater agent for the board, I'm extremely concerned about the implications of the proposed solar projects on the Deep Brook area. Deep Brook drains the swamp area from Morris's Lane all the way to Peckham Road and already floods Morris's Lane when we get a lot of rain or snow melts. The loss of tree cover of so many acres on each solar site with Baroglio's project and that of Sincarpa only 400 feet apart is significant. On top of that is the Deep Brook Estates project, which will clear additional wooded area to build streets and 17 homes with the accompanying impermeant surfaces that come with it. All of this loss of tree cover is likely to have a major impact on Deep Brook itself, as well as the surrounding areas. I would sincerely request that you are hiring a consulting engineer to look at the cumulative effects of the two solar projects and Deep Brook Estates on stormwater and water quality of Deep Brook. Thank you for your consideration, Merrilee Kelly, Conservation Agent. Do you have a stormwater review, sir? Okay.
Yes, yep.
We just got this letter, so I don't know if is this, when did you have the meeting with Conservation?
It was after that. I believe it was the 12th. And
Okay.
Mary did actually bring that issue up at the hearing. And one thing that that I showed her is that so we did do a stormwater report, an analysis of the site and of the existing flow directions. And actually, Deep Brook is to the west of our site, but there is a high point somewhere between kind of our parcel and Deep Brook. So our site actually runs to the east or flows to the east of the discharge off the array. You can see these arrows on this plan represent the existing flow directions. So it's, elevations up around 93 up here. It kind of flows down to this wetland complex in the center of our site. And then from there, it actually discharges kind of this wetland area is all low, and it actually goes down into the east, away from Deep Brook. Now, off-site, well off-site, they may link back up at some point, but I guess the point is that these two sites are not actually both going directly to Deep Brook.
Are you going to need an order of conditions to construct this project from the Conservation Commission?
Yep, and that's what we did. They voted and approved an order of conditions at their last meeting. And after I explained that, I think I think it alleviated Marilee's concerns there. So we do have that because we are clearing within 50, the outer 50 feet of the 100-foot wetland buffer.
I would appreciate a copy of that for the planning board files.
Definitely. I'll definitely provide that to the board.
Do you know the approximate location? We've got another solar project on the agenda for off of Park Drive. Do you know how close that is to this project? It's another 5 megawatt project.
I believe that one is so.
Park Drive's on the other side of Morris's Lane, right?
Yeah. So this is ours here.
Park Drive kind of runs runs down, you can see the subdivision, or if you look in the lower left-hand corner of his drawing that's up on the screen now, Park Drive runs down to Tuckaway Road, and Tuckaway Road is close to this solar array.
Yep.
So that was just a curiosity on my part as to,
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure we'll find out at 8 p.m., but it's nice to have the overall picture in mind when we're talking about this one. We're in the process, we've lost our planner who has basically done the administrative part of all of these approvals for us. We do have a standard wording for issuance of a special permit, and we do require that the decommissioning costs be reviewed by SW Cole, and that we get the result of that review before we vote on any of these solar array projects.
Yep, understood.
Where would this connect into the grid?
So along Morse's Lane. So this red, as I mentioned, this would be the array, and the connection would be down here at Morse's Lane.
Okay, you're on Tuckaway Road right now. So it's going to go down that driveway that accesses the site down to Morse's Lane and then out to Middle Road?
That's correct. Yep.
Has there been any discussion with Eversource about an interconnect permit at this point?
Yep, we started that process. We are awaiting the results of that study, but we have submitted and started that interconnection process.
I've been waiting almost 6 months to get the transformer hooked up on my site from Eversource. So I was just wondering how you were dealing with them and how that was progressing.
It's definitely not the fastest process.
Yeah.
Are they going to be changing? Are you changing the poles? Is it going to be above ground or below ground?
So if I switch back to this, maybe this is the best. So this area to the right here, so if you kind of match up this corner here is here. So this is a blow up of the interconnection. This is Morse's Lane down here.
There we go. That's probably the right plan now.
This is all underground.
We had the area shot. Poles are underground.
It's underground all the way till it gets close to Morse's Lane. And then there are this area here, these are proposed utility poles. So that it comes up, this is a riser pole, the northernmost pole is a riser pole, and then 6 additional poles on the landowner property, on our leased property, and then a interconnection pole on Morse's Lane, which would be an existing.
Let me ask you this, would it be advantageous to go out the other way and go up Park Drive into New Bedford? If you hooked in with that if the 2 solar array people can get together and instead of going all the way down Morris's Lane, go up into Park Drive and hook it into New Bedford?
Probably Eversource will determine that.
Okay, just a thought.
That's just my guess. They'll tell these guys how they can or cannot tie into the grid.
That's exactly true, exactly correct. And we'd have to be separate from them, 2 separate interconnections. But yeah, I mean, anything, because ultimately the project pays for these upgrades. It's not Eversource, it's the project pays for those upgrades. So whatever, we always are looking for opportunities to kind of piggyback on, other projects that require upgrades to split the cost, if you will. So, but it all does come down to kind of, Eversource's direction on how to interconnect the project.
Brian, any questions?
No, I guess I don't. I do see that I'm not really up on the stormwater thing. I'm looking at what he's showing, but I see it as everything being pushed to the south, I guess. He shows it going to the middle, and then out of the middle, it goes to the south. So isn't that water more or less heading towards Deep Brook and Morse's Lane?
It heads, so it kind of does this. So it, as you mentioned, yep, it comes to the center. The low point, this is almost like a, very slow moving channel in a way, wetland area. And it actually goes down, and that comes out here.
I see where it comes out, right where you are right now. It's coming out to the center. But from there, it heads down southward, correct?
Well, it goes south and then east. So it's, I don't know if I could, I wish I could, there's probably a way I can trace here, but there is so it's, the wetlands aren't overlaid on this, but this is the wetland, this is the low point, the wetland complex here comes south, and then it actually, this is all wetlands here, and it actually travels east and under this is a crossing right here. So this is the culvert, and it actually is transported east into this kind of this marshy area here. From there, I haven't looked at the topography. I believe that at some point it likely joins up with this water area, this wetland area, but it does go kind of our site is in a different watershed than this area over here.
Than Deep Brook? You're trying to say it's a different watershed than Deep Brook?
Yeah, or a sub watershed, yeah.
I'm just trying to see what the effect is going to be on, the people on Morse's Lane, and also to the people to the east. I mean, it's headed right towards Middle Road from what you were just showing me also. So I'm just...
Yeah, I'd be happy to, for next meeting, put together something showing, because, there are like state websites we can pull up that have the watersheds delineated. They've mapped the topography and you can kind of see where.
I think it would be helpful to put a graphic together to explain to the board where this water goes and where it ends up crossing culverts and town roads, affecting nearby properties, etc.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. And just to reiterate, we did, as is typical and standard, we did look at, I'd be happy to look further downstream, because I understand the concern about, the site being next to us. But we have looked at kind of what's coming off the site and ensuring that peak discharge is not higher than existing. So it shouldn't be an issue, but definitely to kind of, alleviate those concerns and make sure that the board.
I would certainly like you to submit the same storm drainage report to us that you did to the Conservation Commission. That's.
Yep. Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Especially where we got, we got this project. We have the Deep Brook subdivision that's going to be going in there. Now we're going to be talking about another one on Park Drive. So we're really going to start throwing a lot of water at one place, it seems to me. So I guess that's what I want clarified for me.
Well, I think that's reasonable, Brian. But hopefully he'll come prepared at the next meeting to do that. Has SW Cole seen any of this yet? Have you started to work on a decommissioning cost?
We have not. No, we've not engaged with them yet.
Guys, any more questions before I ask the public? I see there's folks chatting in here. I don't know if you folks chatting can get on this. I see someone came up with a couple of chats.
I'd like
some
to say
pictures.
something if possible.
Greg, please introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, let me get my camera on, sorry. Mike McCluskey, 120 Mendel Road. I've done some work in that area. I'm an arborist, and we went in with basically hand tools and minimal impact because the area was so sensitive. Very wet on all sides of all the access roads in that exact area. I think we were just a little north or further up the road than the area they're planning. And we terminated just about the beginning of this area. But that land seemed untouched to me for a very long time and didn't seem like it would support this kind of thing very well. I'll admit I don't know much about solar panels other than they're unsightly. But from a forestry standpoint, it seemed like there was too much water in that area already. And to remove 30 acres of trees and then expect the existing plants to be able to absorb all that water when we do get storms doesn't seem likely. And I don't know what you're talking about when you say the Deep Brook Estates. But if you're also clearing land for houses, I mean, I'm all for housing, within reason. If it's done in the way that the town does it now, I think you guys have very reasonable and respectful standards for that. But as far as a solar farm goes in, it seems like all the residents in the area are against it. It seems like we're disturbing a very large tract of undisturbed land for solar power. And I don't think that area or that environment could withstand that without a severe negative impact.
And would you just be kind enough to repeat your name so the secretary can get it, sir?
Yeah, it's Mike McCluskey.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on this? I see someone hits a chat button and speaks every now and then, but I don't know if they can get on the TV.
Yeah, my name is Mark Barano, 8 Hunter Street.
Yes, sir.
How long would this project estimated timeframe take?
Yeah, good question. So once construction, construction time period that you're interested in, it's typically around 6 months. So that's for mechanical construction, first breaking ground till substantial mechanical completion where the arrays are up and stabilize the roads in, poles are up, that type of thing. From there, from that point till the project is actually turned on, because that's to be tested and we need approval from the utility to plug into the grid. But you're looking at around 6 months of actual construction.
Okay. Outside of the water concerns, you've obviously driven up Morse's Lane and you realize how narrow that is. It's very difficult for 2 vehicles to get up and down that road safely. You're going to be talking about trees, logging trucks coming in and out of here. That's not a safe situation for anyone. There's kids that are on that street. There's kids that are in the neighborhood. I just have very big concerns about that. It's a very narrow street.
The whole town's anti-business.
I'm sorry?
I don't know. I heard somebody talk. I didn't get it. Would you like to say anything else, sir?
No, those are my concerns. I just wanted to bring those up. That very narrow street for 6 months. We're going to be dealing with a lot of traffic on a very narrow road, 25 feet wide.
Yep. And I guess the one thing, if I may, just mention, I definitely understand that concern. I have driven it. It's a narrow road. These sites we've constructed, dozens of these sites across the state, and we've been doing it right and making sure things are done safely. So, definitely, I think once we get to that point, there'll be a construction team that'll be, in contact with the town, building inspector, and that type of thing, to put in place a, detail or whatever might need to be in place to make sure that that's safe. So I just want to
Would anybody else like to speak on this, pro or con?
Yeah, how you doing? My name's Kevin Mills, and I
I'm
live at,
sorry, would you repeat your name, please, sir, so the secretary can get it?
it is Kevin Mills.
And
and
your address, sir?
I live at 38 Morses Lane.
Thank you.
I agree. My concerns are the traffic. I mean, a 5 meg site is roughly going to be about 15,000 panels, roughly, give or take. Each tractor trailer can only hold 750 panels of whack. So you're talking, 20 tractor trailers coming up and down this road at any time, How do they divide that up? Is it going to be 3 trucks, 4 trucks a day? I mean, am I going to be able to come home, get in my driveway? I got trucks in front of my house. Again, and then also with Eversource, I mean, the tie-in is fine, but there's not a 3-phase coming down this road. So you're gonna have line trucks lined up all the way down the road to pull all new cable. It's just not cut and dry here. Here's our poles we tie in. There's a lot of work with Eversource here, a lot of work. So not only the trucks that are coming in, after they come in, when it's time to, tie in, you're gonna have multiple Eversource trucks lined up down the road to pull all new cable. Is that true? Pretty much. It's cut and dry, right? Single phase coming down, you need 3-phase.
That is correct. Yep. So that Morse's Lane will need to be upgraded to 3-phase. So that'll be kind of done separately. Eversource, permitting that separately. So, and that'll be done prior to construction of the site. So it's not kind of at the same time. It'll be split up a bit, and just as far as trucks on the road, that type of thing. We make sure that we have, especially this site's pretty well set back, and there's plenty of lay down area. So we make sure that the trucks aren't sitting on the road or anything like that, and get them in the site. So that everything's back near the system rather than on the road or anything like that.
So so you're saying Eversource and the solar project won't be going on at the same time?
Right. They'll upgrade what they need to do basically. They'll upgrade to 3-phase prior to us construction.
So then we expect trucks lined up on the road. So we won't be able to get by. Last time we had tree clearing, it was an issue just getting up and down the road. That's the big concern right there.
Yeah,
and the
that's
road's
correct.
gonna get torn up. Who's responsible for that? It's a lot of little things.
Well, in this case, we might be,
Mark, I'll just make a quick comment here. I think that's a legitimate point. I mean, there are 30 acres of trees and stumps to get rid of here. Some kind of traffic management plan or something put in place so that we don't end up with a bunch of exuberant drivers trying to make time going up and down Tiny Morse's Lane. Other than obviously nobody wants to put speed bumps in or anything, but I think that's a legitimate point, and I think that's something that you guys on solar end need to address, is what your plan is for traffic management and keeping dust down, keeping the speeds of those trucks down, and providing safety and protection for particularly the people that live along Morse's Lane. I think that's something that you really need to do for this project. That's my own personal opinion. I've got to interject something here. I mean, this board has spent a huge amount of time going over, and this is not directed at this particular proposal, but we've spent a tremendous amount of time, gotten all kinds of neighbors riled up, and nothing ever seems, well, there's very few that seem to actually get built. It is discouraging on my end for us to be putting this kind of time into all of these proposals, and getting the neighbors all upset and then it never gets built. It's
I'm trying to listen to it.
it's discouraging.
Yeah, it's a
You know, I
town
mean,
meeting I'm listening to.
I like to see as much renewable energy resources put in as we possibly can, but it would be nice to have a seminar someplace or something just so I could understand why so many of these things get proposed and so few actually get built. That's just a comment. That's, I suppose, got nothing to do with anything. It's a little frustration on my part. You know, I hate to get all the neighbors riled up all the time for something that's maybe got a 20% chance of actually getting built. And that we're somewhere in the 15 to 20% range of the projects here that actually get built. Not even a handful have actually gone
Ask
through.
a quick question.
Sorry.
Anybody else would like to say
That's
anything?
just me,
Rick,
babbling. I apologize.
Rick, I had a question for you. What is the lifespan of a solar project like this?
Would you be
These
kind
people
enough to
getting
introduce
built-
yourself, sir?
Oh, yeah, no, I already spoke. Mike McCluskey. I'm just
Okay,
curious.
sorry.
I see people proposing these all the time, and, you know, I know neighbors that have suggested them, and they say they're going to get $2,000 a month or $1,500 a month, which, you know, I guess is a lot of money. But when you consider the amount of land it ties up and the eyesore for all the neighbors, what is the actual lifespan of these projects and the efficiency detriment over time of these projects? Do we know what they cost to remove in reality 20 years later, like wind turbines now, where they're just getting rid of those things wholesale and they actually were a negative impact on the environment? Do we know anything about solar and its long-term effects or its long-term survivability?
I could answer a couple of those questions. So as far as length of the project or the lifetime of the project, it's a 20-year lease with a couple options to extend it. So we're looking at 20 to 30 years for the life of the project. As far as removing, you know, cost of removing the project, obviously anything that you're estimating in 2 decades time has some wiggle room, but that is one of the reasons. And actually Acushnet, the town of Acushnet is really good with this, is having a third party review that cost and kind of get that from someone objective, a third party engineer, to get that number that, you know, the applicant would put a bond up. So I guess to answer that question, you know, as best as an objective third party can put a number on the removal cost, you know, that's what the process is, to have that bond in place.
Okay, I understand the lease term, but what is the actual effective lifespan of these panels? Not the lease, but the actual time frame that they produce energy to be considered effective or efficient. Do we know that, and does that vary per panel per company, or is that something that's across the board, or do we not know that and we're putting these things up and we don't know if in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years they're going to go kaput, or if they last for 50?
There've been a lot of, you know, there's a lot of studies, a lot of time put into, you know, figuring out the lifespan. And actually you know, there's a difference between kind of a commercial viability lifespan of the project, of the arrays, which, you know, maybe is at 20 years, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the life of the facility, those panels actually will still be producing energy. And there's a pretty consistent decline, basically, as they get older, they decline in efficiency. But at the end of the system, they very well may be still useful for, you know, resale residential applications where, you know, the buyer's not looking to make money on it necessarily. They just want to produce energy. So there are actually panels out there that were installed in the 80s, 90s that are still producing energy, but it does decline.
Is it enough at a point where, again, 20 years down the road, this site would still be considered viable, or would it be kind of a mute point to have even put them in, is my question, I guess. And at that 20-year lifespan, do they have to be replaced? Who takes care of that? And how does that work for the town? Because I'll still live here in 20 years. So that's kind of a concern to me, as they seem to want to put these things everywhere.
Yeah, so at the end of there'll be an owner of this. It's effectively a power plant, right? So there'll be an owner of the facility, and at the end of that term, basically, I guess there are several options. There might be something new that the land is used for, but as for this facility, the efficiency of the panels is kind of a known factor. It's known what it will be, and at that point, it will no longer. They'll remove it. It will no longer be commercially viable. So whether they retrofit it at that time or just dismantle it, that will be on the owner of the facility to remove, not the town. This decommissioning that we're talking about, the decommissioning estimate, that's only.
No, I
worst
assumed
case
that. I'm just curious. You said it's a known factor, so do we know at what point they become kind of no longer viable?
I don't mean to cut in, guys. We've kind of been repeating it. I don't know how long they last, whether it's 20 years or 30 years. I guess.
I believe there'd be no answer.
I don't have an answer for it. But is there anybody else who would like to ask any questions?
This is Ryan Bailey with Borrego Solar. I'm a project developer on a project. I just wanted to chime in. At 20 years, first off, the panels have a 25-year warranty through the manufacturer. So if they don't perform, they actually will get replaced for up to 25 years. And the efficiency after 20 years is 90% of their installed capacity. So they lose about 10% over 20 years. So they're still performing at a high level 20, 25 years out.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak, pro or con?
One more question. You have battery storage too? So what's up with that? How does that work? What's the lifespan on that?
Yep, that's similar to the panels. That'll be the life of the facility, 20, 30 years. And that the energy storage component is part of the facility based on the new state guidelines, the SMART guideline or the SMART incentive program that's been passed through the state. And basically what it does is, it allows some of this renewable energy that the system's producing to be stored and used during peak usage times on the grid. So it helps kind of smooth out the kind of power curve of the facility and provide renewable energy when the sun goes down to the grid. So that's kind of
how often do they get maintained? And is there chances of them leaking, or how does that work? I'm just curious about that. We're going through all this water talk, and now we got batteries installed, getting installed too. So I'm just curious about that.
Would you be kind enough to state your name, sir, so the secretary can get it?
I'm Kevin Mills. I already talked once.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else have any questions, pro or con? I just have one. It might be, I don't know whether you're going to go, I stated it before, with that other project to the left of this. I don't know if it would be advantageous to go out the Park Drive side and alleviate Morris's Lane, but that's just my own thought. Gentlemen on the board, any other questions?
All set at this time.
Yeah, me too. I'm all set.
Anybody else like to speak, pro or con? With that, is there a motion to accept the application for this special permit?
Make a motion that we accept the application for special permit at this time.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Brian seconded. All in favor? Rick?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Mark, yes. With that, is there a motion to,
We have to continue to another time, don't we?
yes, continue to the date of February 18th at, I think we'll make it 6:15 PM.
6:15,
7:15, Mark?
7:15?
7:15, yes, we have 6:45 for New England retail. I think that's gonna take at least a half an hour, right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, 7:15 for the 5 megawatt proposed site on 52 Morris's Lane. February 18th at 7:15. All set, is there a motion to go out of the public hearing back into regular hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. It being, is it 7:45 yet?
Way past that.
Holy mackerel. 8:16. Public hearing. Is there a motion to go into public hearing for a Form C, 6-lot subdivision, 301 Perry Hill Road?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Public hearing, Form C. I tried to get it out of the paper, but it's blurry, so I'm gonna read it off the paper here. Form C subdivision for a 6-lot development at 301 Perry Hill Road for Mark Francois applicant, represented by David DeVignan, P.E., Schneider DeVignan, and Leon Inc., Mattapoisett, Mass. 02739. This plan is located on an established ancient way which predates subdivision control regulations. The way is a gravel roadway of variable width between 14 and 20 feet and currently serves 3 homes. I don't think there is, I can show you the paper I got, but it just didn't come out all the way. I hope I read that right. David, are you out there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Do you accept that reading that I said?
Well, there's a major correction in it, but I guess it serves the purpose for what we're gonna talk about. It's not a Form C subdivision at this point. It's a preliminary subdivision. It's a Form B, not a Form C. Big difference. Butter notifications are required for Form C. As you know, you'd have to have a certified list from the assessor's office. It'd have to be published in the newspaper 2 consecutive weeks, and et cetera, et cetera. We're at the very beginning stages here. This is a continuation of our discussion of this potential subdivision, which we've been discussing for pretty much the last 4 months.
Okay, I apologize on that. That's the way it came out of the paper.
It's okay. It's irrelevant, Mr. Chairman, because it really, it's preliminary. It doesn't matter. We're here to seek input from the board, and then from here, take it to the town department heads for further input. So I'll be asking you to put us on the agenda for your February meeting. Whatever time you have after that's fine by me. And when you're ready, I'll screen share
Go right ahead.
if I can find it.
Gentlemen, you're all set with this, correct? Rick, Brian?
Yeah, I mean,
I got mine.
the plan, I got sent a plan that was a preliminary subdivision plan.
Yeah, I have mine.
That's what I had expected we would be looking at.
All right, so I know there's, a butter interest, especially next door, so I'll put it up on the screen. It's on my screen. Is it on yours? No?
No, not yet.
All right. And I'm having difficulty, obviously. Huh. Can't seem to find it on my board. Nope, that's not going to work. I'm trying, guys.
That's all
Just
right.
give me a minute.
That's all right. If you waited for me, you'd be here tomorrow, so.
I think all the guys have the plans that you dropped off, sent them to everybody, so they have them.
Okay. All right. I can only do it on my computer, and I have to re-enter to get back on where I was. If there were no butter interest, then I'd understand, but I think it makes sense to try and get it on the screen.
Okay.
I think you're absolutely correct.
You're not the first one who's had difficulty with the screen share thing, or whatever that's worth.
Okay.
I know I'm assuming there are other people that are interested in this. For whatever it's worth, this is a preliminary plan. And whether the planning board accepts or denies a preliminary plan has no bearing on the actual outcome of the final subdivision plan. So nothing's cast in stone. Normally, a preliminary plan gets submitted to freeze zoning, or in this case, to solicit discussion from the board and the fire department, the police department, and the board of selectmen, which I'm assuming is where we're at with this one.
I'm really having trouble, guys.
Closer, closer.
How about we do this?
All right. You know what, David? What are the main things that you wanted to get resolved?
Okay.
On this plan? I do notice that there no longer is a proposed roadway over the brothers' piece of land. It's all on one. It's all under one ownership where this road is proposed. It looks like there's a decrease in right-of-way width and a decrease in pavement width over under what is typically required for a subdivision road of this length. I'm assuming that there'll have to be some conservation commission action at some location. I don't
Mr.
know.
Ellis, if I can, Mr. DeVignan, do you have two monitors on your computer? All right, so I think what's happening is if you open the PDF file already outside of Zoom, so double click it open, now hit share screen. And now it should show you the Adobe that you can click on as an option.
Okay, I think actually, I know what you're saying. I think I can maybe do this. All right. So let me.
You need to get some young kids.
Yeah, I've always figured it was all us old timers that couldn't do this tech stuff. I don't feel so bad now.
I was hoping to retire before this came about, but they caught up with us. All right. I just have to find where I have it. Okay, I'm getting there. All right, let's see if I can do this now. I don't know. I think you're gonna have to come to my office, Jamie.
Do you want to email me the plan and I'll put it up for you?
like I can't get back into the Zoom on my computer versus my my iPad. Well, my kids will be laughing at me right now. I'll tell you that.
Oh, sorry, I was just trying to give you a hand.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what.
You want us to give you a couple minutes? I can move on to the next one because
Yeah,
it's just
go
going to
ahead.
be
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let me
continuation.
play around with what we've got. Go ahead. That makes sense.
Okay, well, with this minor technical difficulty, we'll go out of the public hearing portion of this meeting and back into a regular meeting.
And then into a new meeting, right? Oh, he's seeking
got
a
it.
public hearing for a special permit on the next one. Okay. Sorry.
Well, with the next one, it's going to be a proposed ground-mounted array, 14 to 47 Park Drive. How do you spell Sinkapar Park Drive LLC of New York, applicant represented by the applicant's engineer Weston and Sampson of Reading, Mass. The proposal is for a 5 megawatt AC ground mounted solar array. This application is seeking a public hearing for a special permit. I got a letter today from the town clerk to the planning board, proposed Park Drive solar PV development. Please be advised, documents from the above planning board meeting scheduled for this evening were delivered to Town Hall this morning, January 21st. As all documents are required to be the town clerk's office a minimum of 1 day prior to the meeting, this agenda item will need to be rescheduled to the board's next meeting.
All right.
In addition, and as discussed, effective immediately, the town clerk's office must receive all petitioner documents by noontime on the Friday prior to the board's scheduled meetings. This will allow my office the necessary time to properly prepare the case file for distribution to each board member prior to the meeting and ensure all cases files are completed prior to the preparation of the agenda. Thank you in advance for your cooperation. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Sincerely, Pamela Labonte, Town Clerk. With that, is there anybody from this particular development on?
Yes. Hi, Mr. Chairman. Rob Bukowski from Weston and Sampson, representing Sincarfa.
Thank you, sir. Do you understand the letter that you wrote, and we will just continue this till the next meeting, sir?
I do. So are we continuing the request for a public hearing to the next meeting?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like me to go through, given that some of the things that came up related to this project on the last hearing that Borrego presented? Or would you rather wait till the next hearing for that, or the next meeting for that?
Gentlemen of the board, shall we wait till the next
meeting?
Yeah, I would say wait till the next meeting too.
Okay, we'll make that at, what do I have?
You did it, David.
7:45 on the 18th of February, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry for the mess up. We just, welcome to my world.
Understood. Thank you. Have a good night.
With that, David, you're all set?
Yes, sir. It was, I couldn't find it because it was below. I just had to scroll.
Should have brought the grandkids in. They would have had it in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I know, you're right. All right, so let's start from the beginning. As you know, this is a unique property where there's an ancient way that runs through the abutter, which is Dean Francois' property. And then it traverses across Mark Francois' property. Two brothers, they bought the whole parcel some time ago. Then they divided it in two. And then they further subdivided the property, whereas the abutter to the south, Dean, created 3 retreat lots, and the abutter and my client, Mark Francois, created 4 retreat lots. None of the retreat lots are actually developed. I believe one of them to the south is in partial developed. It has Phil brought on the site, including septic system. And we have, my client spent a lot of money with attorneys to prove that he has the rights to upgrade the ancient way. We'd like to upgrade the ancient way to create a formal road layout, and so that we can create A&R lot, A&R type lots, I'll say more conventional 60,000 square foot lots with 150 feet of frontage. This property, the ancient way itself was utilized for the development of the property to the north, which you can see on the top of the screen here, Trips Way. There's one house lot that was developed on that. There were caveats put into that approval of the definitive subdivision such that they couldn't further subdivide that property. I believe it's 25 acres until such time as the ancient way was brought up to full spec. The Trips Way cul-de-sac was built. It's a gravel cul-de-sac. There's a gate there that kind of keeps it private from anybody entering it. They utilize the ancient way to access. Both Francois families utilize the gravel road. The ancient way mark is house 301, which you see on the plan over here. The brother house is off the page, sort of to the south and west of 301. There's a split in the road right at the property line where Dean goes left and Mark goes right. We understand in various meetings, especially the last meeting, the abutter, the brother, would rather us not upgrade the road. He opposes us upgrading the road. So we're before you tonight with a preliminary plan which shows the upgrade of the ancient way only on Mark's property, and then a new road solely on Mark's property, starting at Perry Hill Road. We have a double bend and then a straightaway along the property line before we come back onto the ancient way. So we want to create a 6-lot definitive subdivision by doing a combination of creating our own road layout. We're showing 40 feet wide along the southerly common property boundary, and then we pick it and connect back up to the ancient way layout, which is 30 feet wide. So the ancient way is 30 feet laid out. It is on a plan that was recorded at the Registry of Deeds. We don't intend to change any of that. So I don't know if that requires a waiver or not. But either way, it makes no sense to put in a 50-foot layout from Perry Hill to that ancient way. So we put out a 40-foot layout. So that's one of the waivers, is the width of the layout itself. The second waiver would be width of road. We're somewhat, as you can see, limited in what we can do. We have a slew of wetlands along the north side of the proposed road. We got to fit in some drainage ponds to take care of stormwater. So we're proposing a 20-foot wide paved road plus 12 inches on either side Cape Cod berms for a total width of 22 feet. I've provided a cross-sectional view of that. That would be 22 feet of pavement, including Cape Cod berms throughout from beginning to end. Those are pretty much two of the major waivers. There are a bunch of small nitpick type waivers. We tried to list everything to discuss tonight. For instance, one is if you go down to Perry Hill Road, you see where we're meeting Perry Hill Road. We have the required turning radius for the layout down by Perry Hill Road on the east side, but on the southwest side, there's an angle point instead of a radius. We can't provide a radius because of the existing angle point of the property line. So technically, that's a waiver. We would be asking for a waiver of no sidewalk to be constructed along one side of the roadway. There are no sidewalks in Perry Hill Road. Makes absolutely no sense to put a sidewalk on this property. Another waiver would be you're required to have planting strips and utility strips, significant distances on both sides of the road. Our utilities, we're going to be serviced by on-site private well water. There's no water main in Perry Hill Road. Secondary, we have no sewer, so we'll be on on-site septic systems. And thirdly, the electric cable and telephone, it's all overhead and it exists. It exists down the property line, that common boundary between the two Francois brothers, and it continues all the way up to the house on Trips Way at the end of our entire layout here. So we have the utilities in place. The only infrastructure that would be put into the ground within the road layout is stormwater. And we've laid out a basic design where we just collect the stormwater in sets of catch basins and then discharge directly into the pond. The ponds will obviously be laid out in more detail when we get that far, with 4 bays and outfall structures and whatnot. Let me look to see if, another waiver is at the end of the road, there is a cul-de-sac Trips Way, which is in compliance with the subdivision rules and regs. It's gravel. It exists as gravel. It's private. So that gentleman has a gate there. So what we're proposing is to put, in addition to that being there, a gravel hammerhead for fire turnaround, should that gate be locked and they can't undo it. So technically that's a waiver. I whether you need it or not, I don't know, but we want to ask for that waiver. We're going to provide a turnaround, but it's not a full-blown circle. It makes no sense to put another circle before circle. So in looking at my waiver list, which is listed on the plan, by the way, down here right by the title block, we're going to put in bituminous Cape Cod berms and not curbing. Your bylaws, your regulations require curbing. Cape Cod berms will last longer. They won't get crushed by the plows. I know in my neighborhood, they're torn up every time they plow the snow in different parts all over the place. I think Cape Cod curbing is, bituminous curbing is basically is junk in my opinion. Drains, stormwater drains, we're trying to keep the road similar to the grade that exists now. And the regulations require concrete pipe. We would prefer ADS, HDPE pipe, high density polyethylene pipe. That only requires 12 inches of cover. Your regulations require 3 feet of cover, which means the road would have to come up another 2 feet, which is sort of not practical in this case. And lastly, the minimum centerline radius of a road is 200 feet. When we first get onto Perry Hill Road, we have a small turn, and then a secondary turn, we have 40 and 50 foot radius along the center line there, and then we have 100-foot radius along the turn before right when we get onto the ancient way. So that's a summary of the waivers we've come up with. I guess I should mention dead end length. I don't know if technically we need it. This subdivision up top here was a 1 lot subdivision. Waiver was granted for a total linear footage of, I think, 1,368 feet. We're not changing that approval. We're essentially paving and improving the way up to that cul-de-sac, but we'll list it just to make sure we cover the bases. On the plan, I've also listed a whole bunch of general notes so that everybody understands what we're doing here. The notes state that we will have on-site septics, private wells, that the utilities are in, everything I've already said. We've done perk tests on all the lots. Some of the lots don't show them. These are perks that were done prior to our getting involved in the site development, but we have gone and done all the perk tests. They were done this fall. The wetland line has been reflagged in the field. We haven't yet surveyed it, but we know it's very consistent with this. These are things we have to do, but we want to vet it through the preliminary process first. We have stated here that the road will remain private. It will be under an association of the 6 homes that use it. So the town will not be obligated to take it over because of the waiver for the pavement width and the layout width. I guess the last thing is I will point out an error that I have on the plan, which I will revise tomorrow. We're showing some plantings and screenings along the stretch of road when you approach the bend in order to screen the abutter and vice versa. I'm showing that going across the gravel road. That's I got too excited and hitting repeat on the bushes. Obviously, the existing gravel way that exists on Dean Francois' property will be continually be used by him, and it will also be continually used by the owner of Trips Way up top here. Obviously, they will then enjoy an improvement of their access once they get past the gravel road and they jump right onto the paved way. They'll have the right to come right on through our paved road till they get to their property. So I'm going to omit those bushes before we send it out. We intend to, I know that typically Henry would take the plan and vet it through all department heads. And Henry's not with us anymore, as we all know. So what we've done is we've generated a letter, and it'll be with his attorney's letterhead on it. We intend to send it to all department heads, and we'll be asking for written comments between now and the next planning board meeting. I believe it'll be addressed to the board of selectmen, building inspector, fire chief, police chief, conservation commission, highway department, and there may be somebody else in there I'm missing, but we'll address it to everybody, ask for written comments between now and the next meeting. Tonight, I'd like to know if there are any board questions, any concerns with what you're seeing here, because obviously, once we get through the preliminary process, we would like to proceed and receive all the comments, make some updates if we need to, and come up with a more, obviously, more complete set of, plans with road profiles and stormwater design, construction details, multi-layered sheets, et cetera, lotting plans and whatnot. But this is pretty much the general layout that we've laid out. We think it works for us to stay on our property, stay off the abutters property, keep it clean in that fashion so there's no dispute over rights and to upgrade, within the part of the ancient way that's on the abutters property. So I'm open to input, comments, concerns, questions from the board as well as the abutters.
Gentlemen of the board, do you have any questions?
I mean, it looks like a reasonable proposal to me. I mean, there are obviously a number of waivers requested, but on the other hand, they're not asking for the town to accept the road. I would be more interested to see what police and fire have to say about it. I wouldn't expect much. They've already basically passed on the gentleman that's up at the existing round cul-de-sac. I mean, nothing jumps out and says this is an awful, an awful thing to do.
Brian?
I had the same questions. I'm good. Awesome.
Go right ahead. Is there anybody out there who would like to speak for this, pro or con?
Mr. Chairman, this is Attorney Mark Deshays.
Yes, sir.
How are you tonight?
Very good. And yourself, sir?
Good. The only issue we wanted to point out is that
excuse me, I'm sorry. Who are you representing, Mark?
Dean Francois. Yes, Dean Francois, excuse me.
Okay.
The only issue we want to point out, and previous to this meeting, I had heard from Mr. Francois' attorney that there was going to be a reorientation of the access into the road. One of the concerns we have is that Eversource, though the existing poles bring service in are private poles, and as such, any time that one of the lines comes down on the electric poles, it has to be paid by, at one point, the Mr. and Mr. Francois, as well as the individual, Mr. Macedo, at the end of the roadway. We were wondering if, David, if the electric is going to be, you mentioned it's going to be over the existing overhead lights, but since they're not owned by NSTAR, could it be brought in into the the covenants or the for the project, that there'd be a shared responsibility for the repair and maintenance of those private poles.
Before you respond, David, you know, this is obviously a very touchy situation on this project. I from my own end, I would sincerely appreciate it if the two brothers can get together a little bit and not try to put the planning board in the middle of hitting one or the other on the top of the head with a baseball bat, if you will. That's probably my biggest request here, is to ask the two brothers if they could sit down and work things out that between the two of them, so that we don't end up doing this in public meetings with lawyers through the whole process. That's just going to cost everybody a lot of extra money and a lot of extra grief. Just a request. That's my biggest request, David.
I understood it. It was a solicitation for a comment, so I wanted to make that, but I will address that with Mr. Francois' attorney, Richard Burke.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Burke is not with us tonight, but Mark, I can ask Eversource, but the hope is that Eversource would take the poles over, because this will be a subdivision, and typically we would send the plans to them, and I would imagine they have to upgrade the lines, and realizing it's going to be within an approved roadway, whether a private roadway at that, but not a town layout. I don't see why they wouldn't take over the lines. We'll certainly be asking them to do that. They may relocate. I don't know exactly where the poles are. We haven't surveyed them. I understand they're close to the property line, but regardless of where they lay, I would hope the Eversource would take over the poles and take care of it like they do pretty much everybody else in town that has a road, whether it's private or public.
Understood, and that would be great. We would love them to take it over.
Sure, I agree. We'll work towards that together. How's that?
Sounds like a plan, David. Sounds like a Form C plan.
Yes.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry.
One letter at a time. We're at B.
Anybody else like to speak, pro or con?
All set.
Brian?
No, I'm all set too.
Rick, all set?
I'm all set. I would say let's set a time for the next meeting on this, and hopefully we'll have some responses from police, fire, and the Board of Selectmen.
David, you're going to hand out all these plans?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
I'd like to, copy you with the letter. Do you have an email address that we can work from, or how do we move forward here until you get it?
Henry had one.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna send it into the abyss.
Just send it to me.
Okay, how do I get your email address? Don't say it now. You're on camera. So I'll
Just
call you tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow and get it.
Okay. With that, anything else? We'll make that for 8 o'clock on the 18th.
Okay, sounds good to us.
And we're what, what are we now? Form B?
Or Form B. Yeah, Form B on the.
Form B preliminary plan, yep.
Yep.
And what was it, 301 Perry Hill, okay.
301, yes, sir.
Got it, 8 o'clock, the 18th.
Excellent, thank you.
We're all set with that. That is, where am I here? Continuation. Bear with me, I'm a little slow. 815. Morton Lane, map 14, lot 17 and lot 15H. Prospective owner, Paul Boucher, desires determination from planning board on roadway improvements to accommodate the construction of a residential building, represented by Jamie Bissonette, PE Zenith Consulting Engineers of Lakeville, Mass. Are you out there, Jamie?
Yes, sir, I am. Good evening.
The floor is yours.
I'm going to try to make this short so you guys can go home. You've had a long night.
We're all home. Don't worry about it.
May I share my screen, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right. All right. All right. Can everybody see this?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So Morton Lane off of Hathaway Road, I believe it takes a left and a right. So if you're heading down easterly down Hathaway Road, we would have you take a right southerly on the Morton Lane. Presently, right now, Morton Lane is probably approximately a 24-foot paved roadway up until about this point here. And then it goes into a gravel road, which is narrower, and you can kind of see a path that keeps going through. It's already cut open. I was down there yesterday. It's actually a fairly nice area. My client is looking to acquire these two parcels in here, which ends up being roughly 4.5 acres. What he's looking to do is he's looking to establish enough frontage to be able to obtain a building permit to construct a house on the parcel. At this time, he's not looking to do anything more than a single family dwelling. In speaking with him, the desire is to improve this area in here to the minimal standards, which obviously because of fire, state fire code regulations require 20 feet cleared width that's truck can travel on, and also a turnaround, I believe, within no more than 150 feet of a dead end. And hence the reason why we're providing a turnaround conceptually here on Dolores Street, which is not constructed. What we're looking for tonight is to just see if the board itself has any issues with us proceeding with this process on a more formal basis. Right now, the person who's looking to buy it is in their due diligence phase. And obviously, before they commit to the purchase and close on the property, they want to make sure that this is something that they're going to be able to afford to do and also like to do. So we do understand that the improvements of the road here, we're gonna have to deal with some drainage runoff, most likely. We haven't run the drainage calcs, and we'd have to locate the actual areas of gravel. There is a chance that there may not be a increase in drainage flow, but that is something we would look at going forward. But again, I think the reason we're here tonight is to improve this roadway on a private roadway. It's existing private 40 feet wide here and a private 50 foot wide here to the minimal standards to obtain a building permit.
That Dolores Street, is that in a paper street?
It is, yes, sir.
How about Hector Street? Is that also a paper street?
I believe it is.
On the map 14, lot 15H, is the intent to combine that with map 14, lot 17?
So I don't want to speak out of turn. Mr. Romanelli did do the survey for us. My understanding is that these two lots are in common ownership right now. And I believe with the common ownership and the undersizing of this lot, they may be merged by merger doctrine. I would like to talk to Mr. Romanelli to confirm that, but my understanding is they're both owned by the same person.
Okay.
Jamie, if I can clear up, this is Paul Boucher, the owner. We are purchasing those two lots and they will be combined.
Okay, for one building lot. Okay. I mean, in just in terms of past practice by the board, that if I see what looks like is that a house on the lot that's between Morton Lane? Yeah, right there, and Dolores Street.
Yes, sir.
Is that a house there now?
Yep, and this is their driveway that comes out, I believe, right here.
And you'll notice that the end of pavement comes up
Right there.
to the edge of that property.
That's correct.
I mean, that's typically what the board has requested. So he built, there was enough pavement built to get up to his property.
Okay.
And the board has in the past looked at getting the pavement up to at least the beginning of the combination of the property between map 14, 15H and 17. That's just past practice. We would probably solicit the advice of the police and especially the fire chief to see what they think of this. If you could run this by them, that would certainly be appreciated.
Sure.
In the past, we would be asking Henry to do it, but Henry's not with us again anymore. So
Understood.
that's again what we have requested people to do. That way, every person that extends the road out another piece gets the pavement up to their property.
So, if I may, so you would be looking for us to extend it pretty much up to the corner of our property?
I would say that's what the board has required in the past.
Okay.
And then, some kind of cleared gravel way that the fire chief can get his fire apparatus up there to the house if necessary.
Understood. Okay.
Does Morton Lane continue past
It does.
lots?
Yep. It continues and goes down quite a ways, sir.
Oh,
And, again, under who knows, I don't know what the land looks like out there. And that way, when the next person comes in, which they inevitably will, I may not be here, but they inevitably will if it's upland and developable, he'll have to put in the next section of pavement up to his lot. That seemed to be, to us, a fair way to do it. So every person asking for a new lot gets a chunk of road to build.
Okay. Oh, I understand. So I guess what I'm hearing is I should talk to the fire and police, and past practices, you guys have said, bring the pavement up to the property.
I mean, it's a different board and things change, but typically we just see, the road goes up to one, and then a few years later, it goes up to the next lot, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we've got a number of streets like that in the central part of town.
Sure.
Old ways that were laid out prior to subdivision control that get extended piece by piece.
Understood. Okay. And the board would be comfortable with continuing approximately the 20 feet in width?
As I am, as long as the fire chief is happy with it.
Is that an accepted portion of the road?
I believe the entire road is private, sir, but Mr. Romanelli has it labeled as private.
Yeah.
So I'm going off of his research and record. I did talk to him tonight about it, and his recollection was it is private. I will find out if any portion is public, but I don't believe that is the case.
Okay, that's an important thing to the future property owner.
Yep.
That he understands all the implications of that being a private way.
Understood.
Okay.
And I believe the gentleman who owns the property is going to combine those two lots. Is that a lot line going right down the middle from 15H right there?
Yeah.
That's a lot line?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep, there's one right here.
Yep. So we'd probably, I've known, like Rick said, usually you go up 50 feet. If he combines it, he can come up 50 feet right in there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's consistent with what we've asked people to do in the past.
Okay. All right. Well, I really appreciate it, guys.
Sorry we kept you so long. If I'd known you were doing this, we would have put you in earlier, James.
No worries.
I mean, the other consideration, of course, too, is we don't want something constructed that's going to flood out the existing house down there.
Sure.
So that at least it has to be addressed.
Yep.
As to where the runoff from that road is going to go.
Absolutely. It would absolutely be looked at by my office. and we would have that for you so we could present it. Understood.
Okay,
All right.
I'm all set.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for putting up with me.
Thank you for helping. Sure appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
have a
you
good
very much.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Are you gonna call and request a meeting later on, once you do all that stuff?
Yeah, I'll speak with the fire chief, and then what we'll do is if we're gonna take this to the next level, I will, we'll be in touch about how to proceed. In the past with the roadway improvements, I believe that you guys have just allowed a roadway improvement plan to come in. It hasn't been an official filing because we're not creating a right of way.
That's correct. And typically the Board of Public Works has to be on board
Sure.
with the construction that you're proposing.
Yeah,
You know,
we can speak with
pavement
Dan.
depth, gravel depth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's actually the other party that has to be contacted
All
about
right.
this.
Yeah, so I'll talk to Dan and I'll talk to the chief.
Jamie, I'll call you tomorrow.
All right, thank you,
Talk to
Paul.
you tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All right, take care, everybody.
Okay.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Thanks, bye-bye.
I don't believe it. We're done, except, I don't know if you gentlemen had a chance to read the minutes of December 17, 2020.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes as typed.
I second that.
All in favor? Rick?
Aye.
Brian? Mark? Yes, okay. With that, our next meeting is February 18th.
At some point, Mark, considering where these solar array things seem to be never ending, if we could get an electronic copy of our quote standard.
I'm working
special
on it.
permit. Right, okay, all right. I mean, hopefully Henry would be willing to unload that from his computer, if nothing else.
No, that's fine. He's willing to talk to us. Donna does a great job too. I'm able to get Donna to confide with Jen, so we'll put it all together, and
Okay.
we'll
Sounds
have to make a request for money for her, but we'll take care of it.
Okay, sounds good.
Is there a motion?
Motion to close the meeting.
I double.
Is there a second?
I double second that.
At 9:01 PM, motion to adjourn. Rick?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Mark? Aye. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everything, and I appreciate everything you guys did tonight. I'll see you next time.
Good night, guys.